It's your girl Crystal, and I just have a word of encouragement and instruction as we begin 2022. If you guys have been watching and you haven't done this yet, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow. I would really appreciate that. I hope that you guys are having a good start to your year so far. And I just wanted to share an uncomfortable moment, but needed moment that I had with God. And I think it's pivotal to what He wants to do this year for you and through you. So I'm sure you guys have seen all the posts just about, this is your year, about acceleration. There have been a lot of words, good words for this year, the year of overflow, multiplication, all these great things, right? And, after the last 2 years, we need that kind of a word, right? The last 2 years have been really tough. And so a lot of times we get these words and they make us feel good, but we don't really know what to do with them. We've believed words in the past. We've held on to prophetic things that were said to us directly, or, we've just in faith grabbed hold of things that were spoken prophetically, whether at church or social media as the word of the year. And if we were honest, there were some times where that word didn't come out for us, where that word for that year didn't reflect the year that we had with God. And so whether we mean to or not, our faith takes a hit. Whether we mean to or not, we begin to procrastinate and kind of get lazy or put those things that we've already been given instructions to do on the back burner because it just seems like it's not happening anytime soon. We have this mental thought, whether we mean to or not, like, I know God's going to do it sometime. Oh, He's going to do it in the future. But God's not just a future God. He is a past God, and He's a very present God. And so I just want to encourage you guys. There are some things that God had been telling me to do with the business, in restructuring, and just things I never thought about doing, that He's calling me to do. And it's uncomfortable. Part of me asks myself, like, who am I to do these things? Like, who's gonna follow me? Who's gonna want me to help them? Right? All the things that the enemy speaks into our ear, he causes us to see ourselves from a fleshly perspective instead of the heavenly perspective of who our Father created us to be. And so, to be honest, there are some things that probably should have been done in December, November, that I have not done yet. It's not that I said no. I just said I'll get to it. Not right now. Like, okay, God, I'll do it. At some point, I'll do it. And my coach reached out to me just randomly and asked me to approve a blurb that she wanted to share with others about me. And everything was good on this blurb, y'all. Like, I was like, okay. Except for one thing. There was something on the blurb that she said that I hadn't done yet. I hadn't paid for it yet. I hadn't really put thought into it. I hadn't planned it out. And so, in my honesty, because we have to be honest with coaches and mentors in order for them to be effective, I text her back and I said, this sounds amazing, but I haven't done this thing yet. And so she didn't rebuke me or anything like that, or say, oh, I can't do anything for you. She just said, oh, okay. But God came and whipped my tail. He came for me that night, and He challenged my disobedience. If I had stayed on top of building my brand the way that I should have been, I would have been ready for the opportunity that presented itself. There wouldn't have been a need to say, you have to take this out, or can you give me a little bit of time? There would have been no need for any of that conversation if I had just done what I was supposed to do. But I didn't do it because, if I was honest, part of me was a little insecure. Part of me was battling some self-esteem or confidence in that area that he's calling me to that I don't feel equipped for. Part of me was looking at my natural circumstance and saying, God, the people aren't here. So why do I have to rush? Like, they're not here yet, so I have time. Or I'll start working, or I'll take this more seriously when the people show up. And that's just not how God works. One of the biggest words that I have been hearing this year, along with the acceleration, along with the covenant, along with the multiplication, is prepare. And I think, especially as singles, it's easy to take a class and do those kind of things, but it's hard to believe like that it's happening right now. Like, God's gonna do this thing right now. And because we can't quantify what right now is, we tend to say, okay, right now is really the next 5 years. I have time. God told me to start this business, and I'm gonna start it. But he's not going to make it boom right now. It's going to happen in the next 3 years. Whatever that thing is, we tend to say it's going to happen in a longer tense of time. And that's not always the case. Yes, sometimes God has to say, not right now, because there are things that he has to work in or through or out of us. There are people that he has to get into alignment for, the blessing, or for the calling to come in a specific manner. Or maybe it's really just a timing thing. Maybe the people that you're called to aren't at the age where they can receive yet. Maybe they're not at the heart posture yet on a larger scale where they can receive yet. And so he has to wait to place you at the opportune time for the people that you need. But that shouldn't stop our preparation. And if we were honest, it does all the time. If we're honest when it comes to the things of God, we want to see the fruit before we move. We want to see that the seed is bringing forth some type of stem. There is a piece of a flower petal. We want to see something to say, okay, God, now I'm ready to make this investment. But the word says faith without works is dead, and faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence not yet seen. And so even though we want to do things in a particular order because we don't want the rejection, we don't want the disappointment, we don't want to look like a fool, that's not the way of God. And so God brought me to two separate stories or scriptures in the Bible that I just want to share with you, because the preparation that he's talking about isn't not just for now, for the things of now, for marriage now, or for your business now, but it's also all correlating to when Jesus comes back for his bride, because he's going to come back. And so if we start, we're going to start at Matthew 25, and this is the parable of the wise and foolish virgins. And so if we start at verse 2, it says, "Now 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish. Those who were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the 5 wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. But while the bridegroom was delayed, they all slumbered and slept." What does that sound like? It's going to happen at some point, right? I have time. I have time. And at midnight a cry was heard, Behold, the bridegroom is coming, go out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out. But the wise said, No, lest there should not be enough for us and you, but go rather to those who sell and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the wedding, and the door was shut. Afterward, the other virgins came, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Assuredly, I say to you, I do not know you. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour in which the Son of Man is coming. And then if we back up to Matthew 24:36, no one knows the day or the hour. But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark, and did not know until the flood came and took them all away, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. Then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and the other left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and the other left. Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. Therefore you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Y'all, I ain't gonna lie, I think I cried for a good minute. I did. Because I was so convicted that I procrastinated and had to really check myself about my faith and what I believed in and my devotion to God. It is easy to believe and do the things we want to do. You know, if you're like me and you're a writer, that's easy. If you say go write something, okay, I like doing that. But what about when God tells you to get in front of a camera and you don't want to be? Right? Those are the things we fight. What happens when you get a bonus and God says give it away and you've been waiting to buy this thing for yourself or whatever? We all have points where our flesh is going to meet a point where the spirit has to obey, and one part of us is going to win. And when it comes to faith, because we can't see the thing that God is calling us to, the thing that he's promised us, we can't see the other side of what he's instructed us to do. A lot of times we allow the flesh, we allow our disobedience to win. And so it was a very real example of these 2 scriptures. What happened with my coach, what she was asking me for was not something that we had discussed. I had no idea. It was like we talk every week. She never said anything to me about it. She just never said anything to me about it. But here is an opportunity that arose that I could not take advantage of at that moment because I wasn't ready. And I can't blame that on anyone but myself. And I wasn't ready not because I didn't have the provision per se or the materials, but because I didn't believe. Because my belief didn't match what I was seeing, and so I allowed myself to be disobedient and to procrastinate. And so, you know, if you're waiting for marriage like me, hello, I'm not gonna be saying prayer. If you're waiting for marriage like me, he's saying prepare. If you, like me, need to want to lose some weight for yourself first, for you to feel good before this person, prepare. If there's something you need to do, if there's counseling, if there's things that you're concerned may come up, once you get into a relationship, prepare. Get those coaches, get that therapy, whatever it is. If you need to check your health, prepare. If you need to check your finances, prepare. Whatever it is, we cannot wait any longer for the evidence of the thing to come out. We have to take this gracious time, because that's what it is, to prepare now. If you want to be an entrepreneur, maybe you are looking to leave your full-time job and to do this, full-time. Prepare. What does that look like? What classes do you need to take? Is there a coach that you need to come under who's done that, so that you can glean information and knowledge and get the tools, whatever it is, whether you have a product for the business. Do you need a website now? Like, what are you doing to actively prepare? Even if it looks foolish, even if the people aren't there, even if the money isn't there, what are you doing to put your faith forward to show God that you are serious about the things that you're asking him for, and that you're serious about your devotion to him? And the second part of that is, although there are things that we are looking for God to do now, there are promises that he's given us now. Ultimately, this is how Jesus is coming back. He's not coming and leaving a voicemail. He's just coming. And so even with our everyday life, even with how we spend our time, what we feed ourselves on the inside, what we give to our spirit, who we impact and how we impact them, all of these things are moments of preparation for whenever Jesus comes back for his bride. And just like it said, it's going to be two people standing next to each other. It's going to be a bunch of brides, and some are going to be ready and some are not. And the ones who are ready, the ones who have prepared in advance, are going to be the ones who walk in to the current promises, but also walk into the heavenly eternal promises. So I just want to challenge you guys. I'm not going to lie. I've been challenged. I just feel like I done got punched in the face like 8 times with just the words that have been coming since we started 2022. I just want to challenge you guys, as I challenge myself, to be better in our obedience, to do things faster when he says to do it. And when you realize that you're off, repent and do it. Don't repent and then wait 3 more weeks. Repent and just do it. Get it done. Sit down. This weekend I sat down and had an honest conversation about the promises that God has for me, that he's spoken over me, that I'm holding on to. And I wrote a list of practical things that I can do right now to prepare. Practical things that I can do right now to prepare for marriage. Practical things that I can do right now to prepare for the expansion of my business, whatever that looks like. Whether I see the fruit of any of these things right now or not, whether I got a DM or not, whether my book has sold another copy or whatever, there's an endorsement, it doesn't matter. I am saying right now, Lord, I believe you. I thank you for this time, and I will obey. And that's gotta be our posture for this year. If you want the things that he's promising you, if you want to see the move of God, if you want him to use you mightily, you have to be obedient. And so, as this is the month where people are most receptive to change, they're looking at their habits, they're looking at the past year, and they're open to new ways of doing things. They're open to criticism. They're open to guidance. I think it's important to really sit and check ourselves and look and see where we are being obedient, and where we're not, and make a change here. As you guys grab onto all of these beautiful words of prophecy that have come out this year, what now are you going to do with them? Don't end the year still only having words when seeds could have been sown in the beginning of this year to take root and possibly germinate and come to full term by the end of this year, because only God knows what he wants to give you this year and what's going to take a little bit more time. Our job is just to plant and to water and to be diligent. That's our job. And so I just want to encourage you guys to look forward to this year, to raise your expectation. If you're struggling, if the last 2 years have really been hard, I know I have moments where it's hard for me to like get this kind of anticipation. Worship and praise will lift you so fast. Listen to things like Mike Todd's sermons on faith, or Dr. Darius Daniels' sermons on faith. These are things that will stir your faith and help you to refill it, so that your level of expectation in God will grow and soar, because you need it to be high to really expect something from him. Go back to last year. Look at all of the things that you hopefully wrote down in your journals that God did for you last year. Look at all the blessings that you asked for, and look at the wonderful things that he did that you didn't ask for. Look at the moments of grace. Look at the moments of favor. Look at the moments of protection, and allow those things to fuel you as you move forward this year. And if you feel like, I hear you, Crystal, but I can't do this on my own, that's okay. Find someone who can be your accountability partner. If it's not a friend who can be that kind of a partner, there are coaches who do things like that. I have a really good sister friend who is an accountability coach. If that's something you need, reach out to me and I will connect you with her, so that you have someone who is also a believer who will partner with you to make sure that you get those God things done in a timely manner. So yes, I just want to encourage you guys. I pray that you stay close to God in this season. Love on him, and as you learn to love him, your love for yourself will increase, and your ability to love others will become even larger. Expect. He really is a good father. Even when it's a no or not right now, that's for your good too. And so I've learned in this last year to really thank him for the yeses, the nos, and the laters. Make sure that you raise your expectation and look and see what God's going to do, and do your part. Do your part. Sow the seeds. Have the conversations. Write the book. Work out. Eat healthy, fast, pray, whatever it is that you need to do to show God that you believe him. Do that this year. Write it down and mark every time that he answers a prayer. Mark every time that he performs a miracle or he shows up, so that it continues to build your faith for the bigger things that you are praying and believing for. I believe, guys, that this is going to be a crazy year. I believe that he is going to show up and show out. And so make sure you don't miss when the bridegroom comes, right? We all want that beautiful story. We all want that beautiful testimony, not just for ourselves, but for the people that are watching. So I love you guys. I pray that you have a dynamic January. I'm praying for focus. I'm praying for restoration, for a refilling, just so that you have what you need to go forth and to do the things that God has called you to do, and to be all that God has called you to be. I pray that however you are starting this year, the end will be better. And so there's only up from here. I'm going to do better, guys, with sharing more and just opening up more. That is a challenge for me this year, so stay tuned. I am definitely going to do a video I've been sitting on just about being single for 4 years. Ooh. So stay tuned for that. I want to see your comments. I would love to hear from you. So if you felt like this was good, if you felt like this was helpful, maybe this is the push that you needed, please share. I want to make sure that the things that I'm sharing is encouraging you guys as well. I know it blessed me in a kind of medicine, bitter kind of way. But that's all right. It's for my good, right? So I love you guys. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.